Yo. Episode 5, CJ.
Mm-hmm.
What's your recap?
What exactly are you asking me? Like, to scale 1 to 10? Like, what exactly are you asking me? What are you asking me?
When I say recap, I don't mean put a cap back on your head. What did you just experience?
Experience my first interview. It was cool.
Dude, get your voice.
It was cool.
Listen, I'm asking for a recap. Can you please just...
Murky, you hear me? Y'all hear me? All right, yeah, we're good.
Yo,
we're good.
Listen. Recap. What was the experience like? What just happened?
I just got flooded with knowledge. You know, that's what happened to me. My first interview got flooded with knowledge. It was very needed. I thank you for that. And like I said, I'm just gonna have to go do my homework and everything. So I'm just gonna have to keep listening for episode 5. So that's my recap to you. That's my recap.
Oh, this dude, man, listen. Even though my credit's good, there's some things that I learned, like check your credit report daily. So you know what I'm gonna start doing? Going to car dealerships. Like, yo, you know what?
Don't let them run. No, that's gonna be inquiries.
No, I do it like once in every 6 months.
That's fine.
You know what I mean?
You said daily. You made me nervous.
Not daily. See, if you know the definition of daily, it means what? Could be 3 months. Every 3 months means continuous, but we ain't gonna get into that.
Okay.
Yo, this is episode 6. We still got Val in the building. This time we're going to talk about relationships. But before we talk about relationships, her relationship, CJ relationship, because he think you be trying to cop out. Oh, that's what a lot of people told me. They were just like, yo, what are you hiding?
No, don't
People
worry.
at work told me. They be like, oh, he got a girl that he's trying to hide.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Smush Parker.
Don't worry about it.
He likes to keep his stuff
Yeah,
private.
I'm a very private dude. I said that.
You're in the spotlight right now.
And people know that. People know that I'm private. So don't try to take my mask off.
Blah, blah, blah. What y'all do, that's why I'm laughing at you. Like, ha, ha, ha. But there was a comment. I need you to address this before we move on, because I don't want to forget this young lady's question.
Yes.
She left a comment on our page. And I told you we're going to interact with your comments. So if you leave a comment with a question, we're going to put it on. So could you read that question? It was about how she basically said, how do I manage my family and my business?
Yes.
So you don't actually have to read it, but you could answer that question. Now, how do you as a woman manage your business and your relationships?
So I'm not going to lie. It's not the easiest thing in the world. And it took me a while to try to figure out how to manage it, because of course, okay, I have a business. I was working full time. So just think of that. I was working full time. I had a business. I'm divorced. So I have 2 kids who are in activities like you can't even imagine. And then you have your personal life, or you have just self-care, right? So for a while, self-care is important, and I'm gonna get to that. So for a while, what's the first thing? I mean, a lot of women, what we do is we give to everybody else, and we take away from ourselves, right? So we stop pouring into ourselves to pour into everybody else. And what happens is then we suffer. Now, all of a sudden, we're drained. You cannot fill other people unless you fill yourself first. So I was using an example of this. Like, if you think of this is going to sound weird, but this is my best analogy that I can think of right now.
Go ahead,
Gonzo. If you think of a Christmas tree, okay? And what makes up the Christmas tree the best?
Ornaments.
Oh, besides that.
Lights? No.
Besides that.
That's still ornaments.
The star, right?
That's an ornament.
Okay, but that's not, there's ornaments, but the star is like on the top of the tree, lighting up the whole tree. It's not it's like, when you.
What happens if somebody don't have a star on their tree though?
You gotta get a star.
But they might not have one.
You gotta make one.
I am the star. I stand next to the tree, take a picture. There you go.
when you're decorating it, right? They say, okay, who's gonna put the star up? Because that like makes the tree. So you're the star. The tree is your life, right? The ornaments, the lights, that's your people. That's what makes up your life, like your family or your kids or your partners or whoever's in your life, right? Your friends, whatever. You have to pour into yourself. You have to light yourself up first before you light all that other stuff up. So in order to balance your life, you first have to make sure every single day you're pouring into yourself. Even if it's just for a half an hour, you have to do personal development. Like, you have to do personal development. every single day, right? Whatever that looks like for you. If that's affirmations, if that's praying, if that's reading, listening to
CJ
audibles.
does that. You're on course. Good job.
Meditate.
You do? Yeah.
I meditate. Oh yeah.
Every,
all the
like
time.
it makes a
That's
difference,
Oh my bad.
right?
Did I put your?
But that makes a difference,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It makes a difference. So
Huge
you have
difference,
to make
huge
sure you
difference.
pour into yourself, because what's going to happen is then you're able to pour into everything else a little bit more efficiently. You're able to deal with any kind of issues that come on throughout the day.
That's right.
You're able to just think more clearly, be more effective, have that high energy, right? So the way I balance is I make sure I pour into myself. I have to write everything down. If I do not have an organizer, whether you use a Google Calendar or if you're old school like me and you have an actual planner, I have to write everything down. I try to get away without doing it and putting sticky notes everywhere. I lose sticky notes. I end up missing things and consultations, and then I'm overwhelmed, and then I don't want to deal with anybody, and then I'm not good for anybody, right? So you got to make sure you have a planner. You got to make sure there's you time on there, that you're taking care of yourself, you're giving yourself personal development, and that if you're busy like that, if you're working a business, if you have kids, if you have a man or a woman or whatever in a relationship, there's other things that might have to get sacrificed a little bit, right? So you got to see what can give, like what are your top must-haves and what is some things that you have to put aside for a little while, right? So for me, it's TV. Like, I don't watch TV anymore. I don't, because I have goals that I have to reach, right? And I'd rather spend that time with my kids if I have a half an hour, right? Or I'd rather go and do something for myself for a half an hour. So I've made some sacrifices. The other sacrifice I've made was getting up earlier, an hour earlier, right, than I usually do, to give myself more time to pour into myself before I pour into the rest of the day. So in order to balance, in a nutshell, you have to have a schedule. You have to sacrifice some things to make more time. You have to make sure that you're seeing like what your priorities are, and you're giving it enough. You know, if it's your boyfriend, make sure that, you know, if you're running a business, your man is gonna have to know that you can't be on him like 24/7, right? Like, I don't know, right? So you have to make sure that you schedule time with him. And when you do schedule time with him, that you are just focusing on you and him. You're not doing your work. You're not doing your business. You're not doing other things, right? So when you do allocate time for your kids or your man, right? Or yourself even, those times you are pouring in and staying focused on that particular thing for that time, right? And because a lot of time, if you have your own business as an entrepreneur, it can take over your whole life, and before you know it, your kids are you're sacrificing time with your kids you shouldn't, or your man, or you are spending time with your kids but you're on your phone the whole time, right? Like trying to get back to people. So that's why it's important to schedule things out. Then you'll be more likely to like be more focused on the actual person or whoever you're spending time with.
Wow.
Interesting. My therapist has told me stuff like that. He got me into the whole deep breathing, meditating, and everything like that, and also jotting everything down, because my mind will be everywhere. I feel like I'll be at certain places, and then and I'll just skip something, or I'll get to it later. Later, it never comes. Or especially when it comes to people, like you know, family, you know, close friends, business partners, or even relationships has played. It's just been a mess. So I'm just to a point that I'm spacing out. I'm like, man, what's really going on here? Until I actually have, I say 30, 35 minutes of myself, and just pure quietness, just either counting backwards or just meditating. Just make sure I just get my mind right, even before work or before the gym, and just take everything pace by pace, step by step, instead of rushing everything. And I'm just all over the damn place. So all right.
It's important because life is so busy, for sure. Absolutely. And for relationships, make sure you're with somebody who supports your dreams,
supportive,
and who, because if they don't support you, like supporting you meaning like cheering you on, believing in you, and understanding that, you're going to have to give a little bit more time to get your dreams and your business up and going.
The opponent. See what I mean? What I was saying? But after hearing you talk, you know what I figured out?
Yeah.
I want a chick with no job.
You want a chick with no job?
All right, elaborate, man. Talk about it, man. Go ahead. Talk about it, man. Talk about it, man. You want a chick with no job? You hear that, ladies?
You want to be a stay-at-home?
No ambition.
You want to stay at home? I got you.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, man.
For real, because us ladies, we wear a lot of hats these days, right? Like, there's some people who are, work, stay at home. I mean, they're stay at home moms and stuff like that, and that is fine too.
She might not be a stay at home mom because if we don't have no child, she just gonna be staying
stay
at home,
chilling.
or nah, she go get a job. Like you can work, you go work, but you gonna be all that. I got a schedule to meet up with you. Like okay, so I'm meeting at you at what time? What?
Well, it doesn't have to be by the time, but let's just say it's like, all right, like let's say me and you were dating Dante, and I was like, you were like, when
interviewing first before we date, because I gotta know what you're about.
Right.
Okay.
But let's just say we were, and you were like, you know what? When are we getting? If weekends are our thing, okay, Friday or Saturday. All right, Saturday night is our night. Okay, cool. I'm gonna make sure.
Just Saturday night.
I don't know. It depends. Everybody's different. Well, let's just say we pick Saturday night.
I like to be what's that?
What's up?
What's the word? Clingy don't bother me. If it's somebody that you like and somebody that you enjoy, you could cling up on me. You like that koala bear. Like I'm like the tree.
Well, Saturday
night, you just give me one day. Like what?
All right, Saturday night we're going out, and Friday night. If you wanna be with me on Friday night, then you're gonna work with me.
Okay, work with. Go ahead. Hey, you using this hypothetical? Go ahead.
Yeah. So
use it. I'm
gonna hear saying. All right. So Friday night, you want to chill me on Friday night?
Because I don't know if I want a business chick now. I was like Saturday night, like just one day.
Well, what if your girl? You have to understand. Like it depends. I'm talking about my situation. People might not have a situation like me where I'm jam packed, right? I have kids, so I honest to God, even before I had my business, I wasn't able to be with a man Fridays and Saturday nights, unless we plan like a weekend getaway every once in a while, which is fine, because one of the nights I have to be with my kids.
Now you know what's interesting, because here's something I always said. Like, actually, I didn't say this. CJ said this. What happened if they older? She got the kids. I'm like, I know they older. Mm-hmm. I could just say that they older. So it's like, even though they're older, why is it the time limited?
Well, all right, so my kids are older right now. They're going to be 14 and 16 years old, but they need rides here, rides there. You know what I mean? Maybe my son's sleeping out, but my daughter's still home. I don't want to leave her alone if she's not with her friends or whatever. And so I want to spend a little bit of time with her, or I want to be there with her.
Okay, so back to this dating thing. So why couldn't I give them a ride? They ain't got car seats.
If I this is the other thing, if I'm dating somebody, they will not meet my kids for a long time.
Oh, we addressed that. You need to go listen to our episodes.
Right.
Okay.
But once if you have met my kids, that means you're in. And
pause. Chris Webber.
Let's time out.
Please explain that, because like this is what I was saying. Like, as when a woman because I made an example of how a woman when I first met her, like we went on a date and she introduced me to her kids the first day, and I knew, I was just like, she don't like me like that. She just see me as a friend, because I was just like, if she really was interested in me, she would have never introduced me to her kids that early.
I don't know. You know what? Some people are just have a different...
This was a while ago. This was a new age. This was like when I'm in my 40s. This was like when I was in my 20s.
Some people have a different mindset about that, and there's no right or wrong. And I'm not anybody who thinks different than me. Like,
she sound like
nothing
me.
but
Ain't no
respect.
Right or wrong, see?
Yeah, like no. But for me, because I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. For me, I just don't want a lot of. If I'm dating, I don't want my kids to see me dating multiple people. It just isn't. At some point, they're gonna be older. And like, I have a daughter and a son, right? So I just don't want them to see me around. Like, they know I have friends that are guys, and that's cool, right? But I don't want to be like, oh, I'm dating this guy and it doesn't work out. Oh, I'm dating this guy, it doesn't work out. I'm dating this. Like, I don't.
That's why I don't like meeting people's kids.
Yeah, I don't want that. It just doesn't. It's not a good look for me. You know what I mean? And it's like, you understand, you have to get to know people first before you know that you're an item and that you're solid, right? Because it could end up not being a good fit. So why am I going to bring all these, introduce my boyfriend to all these people, to my kids, all these people to my kids, and then they're like not taking anybody seriously or me seriously, right?
I wish I thought
So,
that at 22.
So I don't know. That's me though.
Mm-hmm.
Some women do not think like me, and they're okay with having different men in front of their kids. And
let's address this conversation, because we keep saying there's not a right or wrong answer, and I know people say that is an oxymoron. So are you. But no. The reason why I'm saying that, we did a episode called "Are You Delusional or Damaged?" And the reason why I said there's not a right or wrong answer is for this reason. Everybody have their own perspective on how they look at something. And I always say this, that the problem with the society today is the miscommunication of perception. Like, I have my experience. I have the way I look at things. You have your experience, the way you look at things. So, and one of the examples I'm using, and I forgot to use it in that, but I'm glad I'm bringing it up right now, is I met a lady. She was gorgeous. And you know what she told me? I don't love her because I don't hit her. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I wrote this in my book. You associate being hit as love and believe I don't love you because I don't hit you? So that's what I'm saying. Somebody would say, there's something wrong with that. Okay, correct. We could feel that way. But if she doesn't feel that way, how are we saying she's right or wrong?
Right.
Because that's her association.
Yes.
That's the way she feels. That's her perception. Say it with me, people. Perception. Come on, Smush. Perception.
All right, quit that. That's a
Nah,
go ahead.
but that's what I'm meaning, because it's like the fact of the matter. See, I could talking to a woman that have, like, okay, so we're gonna still stay with the hypothetical of dating. See, I'm getting to know you, because we're gonna talk about why'd you get a divorce. I'm getting to know you. I want to know why you got a divorce. Like, what happened? Because I'm listening to that. I'm like, yo, she's intelligent. She has a business. It was you had another job that pays well, and it's like, could you please explain for our audience? We had a young lady, my brother's fling, say, I'm going to school to be a nurse. The difference from I'm in school to be a nurse.
So someone who says they're going to do something, or someone who's actually doing it? Is that what you mean?
Right, because I'm sitting up there when she said I'm going, I'm like, I know a lot of nurses, and I never heard one of them say I'm going to school. They always said to me, I'm in school to be a nurse. And as of,
so I would say that's intentions versus actions.
pow!
So we have all the intentions in the world of doing things, right? So we have all the intentions of the world on doing things and accomplishing things. But if we don't put action behind it, then it's just words and it's not happening, right? So if you have an intention, everything starts with intention,
Yo,
right?
she sound like me. Intent. I'm totally, smart women. Yeah. That's why I love smart women.
There's no wrong with that.
Are y'all hearing this? Is this mic on? Her mic is hot right now. Touch it, CJ. She got Missy Elliott on. Hot like fire.
Yeah, but no, intention is we all have an intention. It all starts with an intention, but you have to put action behind it. You actually have to make the move, right? So it depends. If she said she's going to school to be a nurse, does she have a start date? Maybe she's starting. Maybe she hasn't gotten accepted yet. Maybe she's starting.
Oh, this was in the past. She wasn't going.
Oh,
I knew that from jump. I knew that from jump. So you got to listen to our episodes, because I was just like, what? Because one of the things, like I said, I listen.
Yeah.
The reason why I like to interview, I want to get to know you, because again, it doesn't just because you say something wrong the first day, man. Listen, if you don't believe me, my longest relationship, I was messing with another girl, and then I met this girl. I called her that girl I was messing with the whole night in her apartment. I was like, I know, it was that bad. I left like, when I get nervous, I do some funny stuff.
I've done that before, though.
So I was like, she ain't never gonna talk to me again. But I went, asked the OG, I said, hey, yo, I did this. And he was like, yo, you know what you gotta do? Pour out your heart. This was the voicemail days when we had the regular landlines. So I poured out my heart, and she said, you know what, I wasn't gonna give you another chance, but she gave me that chance, and she became my longest relationship. So again, it's like, just because you make a poor decision the first day doesn't mean I'm gonna hold you accountable for that decision.
Right.
So again, I want to get to know, because I want to like, it's like, it is a balance. It's like, how would you incorporate me with the 2 children, with yourself, with your business? Because I need to be supportive, but I also want that attention at the same time.
So what it comes down to is 2 people, you might really care about each other, but you might not be on the same page, right? And this is why it's good when you're dating people to actually get to know them. And this is something that I failed at in the past. When I started dating somebody and I really, really liked them and there was a connection, right? Like say there was a connection between me and you, and I really, really like you. I'm already in my mind, like, you're my man, you're my boyfriend. Cause I'm somebody who I commit to one person at a time, right? So I'm already all in you. Like I'm already blocking out anyone else who wants my attention, but that's not good because I haven't really gotten to know you. I don't know if we're on the same page. I don't know if we connect on the same level. I don't know if we want the same things. So I've set myself up for failures because of that in the past, because I prejudge. Like I see everybody's potential. That's the other thing too. I see everyone's potential. I'm an empath, so I see deep into people. I see like good in them, and I fail. I have failed in the past.
So basically, you thought there was going to be something that they didn't have the potential of becoming,
right? Or they didn't want to be. Some people don't want to be what you want them to be.
So you was a Muppet baby. You remember Muppet Babies, and they used to have the imagination?
Yes. I'm like, this guy would be great at this, and he would be this, and I said, I mean, you can't do that. Like you have. So now I get to know people. I just have a good time. Not like that, but like I get to know people. I connect with people. Maybe we're better as friends, and it's okay, right? Or maybe we are connecting, and I let it organically just happen. I don't I just see what they're about. So if me and you were to date and I would tell you, like, okay, this is how much I would be able to spend time and whatever, like consistently.
So once a week?
Well, no. There's sometimes like
Pastor.
Yeah. No, like
Can we get a Bible study?
No. I'm good for like weekend vacations here and there, or once a week to really go out, but maybe like a couple days a week to like lunch or chill a little bit here and there. But if he's like somebody who he wants the everyday thing, we probably wouldn't be a good fit, right? Because I'm so packed and stuff like that. But maybe down the road, if me and him got close and deep, and now I can bring him around my kids, and he can come over my house, and he could hang out with us, or he could have dinner with us, then it would be like, oh, it probably would fit better. But in the beginning, yeah, I can't be with somebody all the time because I just can't have people like that in my house, and I've got my business, my kids, I'm running around with them, So
now you know why I don't like dating women with kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid thing though, right? Because I understand your point of view. I do. Because you have more freedom, and you should be with somebody who has more freedom.
No, it's
and
not.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's not just. It's like the thing. Again, it's the balance. Like one of the things, like, because Sandy said the same thing you said. Like Sandy liked to help people, and I get it. So the thing with me is, you never know who you're gonna fall in love with. It just, things could just happen. You never know. Like when we met, we never knew we was gonna be hanging together or whatever. No. And there was a connection that brought us together. Like, yo, when I was like telling him like people's gonna view you in such a light, and when he was just like, yeah, whatever, we already addressed that, we don't need to bring it up. But I got somebody coming in to talk about that.
Interesting.
Because we was called gay because we don't have children.
Ain't that something?
Yeah, I would never think of that.
That's how you could tell the difference in the women you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Intellect versus ignorance.
Yeah.
Say it with me. Intellect versus ignorance.
Yeah.
So I got me a gay guy who's going to come in here, and we're going to address that.
Love that.
Anything that was said, we're addressing.
Yeah.
That's what make it fun.
Go straight to
radio.
Yeah, it does. Going straight to the source. That's interesting. I can't wait to listen to that, because that's the last thing I would think about. If I see somebody, there's like a lot of people who don't have, there's like, I would never think that.
Appreciate it. That's, because I didn't believe him when he first told me. Hate to repeat myself. I just brushed it off. I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about. And I was out, lunch, and that question came up, and it really hit me. I was like, man, this is what he was talking about. I couldn't believe it. I was really, to a point, I had a smirk on my face. I was like, this is unreal. I'm like, wow, just because I'm not a father, you got to question me. But yeah, that's
See,
what
my
happened.
first thing if I'm talking to people, is like, oh, do you have any kids? I don't assume people have kids. I don't assume that. That's a question. Like, do you or do you not?
That's what it's supposed to have. You're supposed to see. Even though I know we're in the same age bracket, I'm gonna start using that, like the NCAA tournament, that same age bracket.
Yeah.
Instead of saying age, because they don't know. Yeah, CJ is sweet 16. But what you said about the commitment, that's when I realized this society was changing. I remember the days when you had to really put in work to get to lay with a woman. And I remember the time when I laid with the sophisticated female and we just went our separate ways. And I was just like, that's weird. Because it was hard to get with a person. And now I think, oh yeah, this is not going to turn out well. And look at the society right now. Like, you can ask some women nowadays how many partners she had. She ready for the day?
Oh man.
Listen, I had a conversation with because like I'm around a lot of young people, not anymore, but before, because I used to always go shopping and buy sneakers. I used to always spend my time at Expressions, and that's how I got my books. Because a young man was like, "Yo, if you write a book, I'll read it." I was like, "Kids ain't reading no books," but that's why I wrote them. But he was telling me like, "Yo, one female, you with one female? You know how many females I had in a day? He showed me in the spot. I'm like, I don't want to see that." I was just like, wow. It's like the moral level's just gone.
Gone. It's absolutely crazy. Like, it is really gone. Like, people are like, cannot believe when I say I've never had a one night stand before. And they're like, I can't believe you I'm like, why can't you believe that?
There's something. The girl that I keep talking about, this is how sophisticated she was. Like, she was celibate. I remember she called me and she said she got into an argument on a guy because, first of all, I don't even know why he was in her business like that. But she was like, I'm celibate. He's like, why would I understood he'd seen her beauty, but he's like, why would a woman like you be celibate? And she was like, why would you ask me a question like that? Like, I don't just give myself out like that. Because when I met her, she only been with one person. I was shocked. I was like, should I believe this or you capping?
Yeah.
But nah, she wasn't, because a lot of people that knew her told me like, yo, how'd you get her?
Yeah.
She went to college and they was like, people was trying to get her. That's how I got a lot of my friends, because they were just like, we was trying to get with her. We couldn't get her. And to see you with her, what's going on with you? I'm me. That's the difference.
All right.
You don't sit and talk with me. If you sat and talk with me, like CJ did.
So
hold on, let me change that over. That didn't sound right.
Cut that out. No, I was about to say. So we talk about sacrifice. So, you mentioned that you've been married. So when marriage comes in, like, everything is like, is everything put aside? Like, you sacrifice even more. Like, this is like a lifetime commitment. You having this man's last name or vice versa, whatever. So elaborate on that. What was that like for you? Like, the whole
with marriage and stuff. So with marriage, it is so important that you do not let marriage go to the wayside. Like, you have got to work on, you have to keep your relationship alive. So a lot of times with marriage, people get real comfortable and they just think, oh, I got this person, I got the ring. I mean, we did it, so we're good. And then they get comfortable and then they stop doing the things they used to do together. No, you got to keep it alive. You got to keep it going, because that's how you can fall apart real quick. And so if you're getting married, like I said, again, don't get married unless you know that you are on the same page. You guys are both on the same page. You're supporting each other. You're making time for each other. You guys have open communication is huge. Communication is huge. You're able to talk to each other and feel comfortable telling each other how you feel, even if it's to agree, not to, like, whatever it is. You guys have to be able to talk and make sure that you both are in the same place. Like, my whole thing is, like, you want somebody to show up to you for you naturally without you begging them, chasing them, right? Because you're gonna get disappointed every time. So if I ever had to get married again, I rolled my eyes because you guys can't see it, but you can. I would really make sure that we were on the same page, and naturally, we wanted the same, like, the core things we were on the same page with. Obviously nothing's perfect, right? But on the core things, we were on the same page, because then you can naturally, provide for each other in different ways without having to be forced or begging or nagging or whatever.
Okay.
Well, I like what you just said because I have like, I'm a believer. I walk with God. We're gonna bring that up too. My pastor in Philly, that was like one of the greatest trips God ever took me on. When I went to Jersey and Philly, that was very enlightening. I learned so much. But he said, I'm gonna tell y'all what he said to me that was so interested about marriage, and it changed my whole perspective of how I look at it. Because he said, you want something that you're not even ready for. And I wanted it since I was young. Like, I would have got married at 16 and been happy because I'm a committed person. When I'm with you, I'm with you. I don't care about everything else, especially if I'm happy with you. But when he told me you don't know what you're actually getting yourself into, he said people do not prepare for the marriage. They prepare for the wedding. And so he was saying that when a honeymoon, we don't know a honeymoon to go on like a 2-week vacation. I was like, if you had sex before you got married, that's a vacation. You already slept with them, so what's the difference? But he said that, because if you go look in the biblical days, like when the couples came together, they went in the chamber. This was crazy. Like they went in the chamber with both parties, both families there, while you was having sex in the chamber. You couldn't hear them. You couldn't hear them. You know they was in there. But what happened is they put a white sheet, and when the lady, the hymen or whatever, and she bled, it was a token. So when you gave it to the father and you tried to say that my daughter wasn't pure, they had the evidence that she was pure. That's dope, but that's not the point. I would just make it up what happened.
Right.
But here's the point, what he said. A honeymoon was supposed to last a year because you're supposed to get to know your person, just you and them, not even working. He said you're supposed to save up a year worth of salary to spend with your wife. I was like, I never knew that, and I never heard it, and I never heard it after he told me that. Me and him, we was in Penn State, sitting down having lunch, and he taught me that. And that's why when people want to know why I got good credit and everything, because I was like, wait a minute, I'm one of them smart dummies. I was like, if I could save up a year worth of wages, how about 2? How about 3? And I just kept going because once I got in that mindset of understanding how to take care of a woman, and I would just say, that's one form of happiness is finances. That's what you want to address that. That's one form of happiness, but it's emotional. Because I always tell people when I'm studying, when I teach, people, I said there's 3 aspects in this world. You have the physical aspects, what you see of them. You have the mental aspect, and then you have the spiritual. And if you don't believe in God, I always say energy or influence.
Yes.
And they be like, what do you mean? This is what I mean. When you see someone, that's the physical attraction you have. So you're mentally like, yo, how could I get this person to see me the way I want them to see me? But it was the influence of that person that you seen first, or the energy of that person that you was like, I want to get to know this person. And we're going to talk about that too, about your energies, how your energies talk without you even realizing it. And you want to know how you know? How many times when you meet a person and they have bad energy, you like, their spirit already communicated with you, but you didn't. That was the red flag. That's why when I get that, like, I'm like, ooh, something ain't right. So I'm asking a lot of questions. I can play dumb. That's why when people think I talk, like, I'm actually playing dumb to you because I'm trying to find I'm fishing. I need some information about you. Like, why did I get that bad vibe about you? That's how I knew Shorty was not going to school for nursing. That's how I knew Shorty didn't have a house. We're going to keep getting But,
Yeah.
So, what, again, we don't need the full details, but what happened in your situation where it's like, because we see the results that smart woman, fairly attractive. Like, what happened with the guy? Like, did he regret or whatever? There's any regression there?
Yeah, so with us, I feel like we were definitely more friends than, like a married couple. And I think we wanted different things. We were on different pages. Like I said, I take responsibility for a lot of it, trying to, like I said, connecting and vibing and excited and meeting this person and knowing that this person was, first of all, very loyal. Okay, so my issue was I would take some good qualities about him and forget other qualities and go right to it because I was always like, cheating is the worst thing.
Correct.
Right. And I was really young, right? I was really young then. And I wasn't really as wise as I am now, right? So I would be like, oh, he doesn't cheat, and he's not out in the clubs, and he's not doing this and that. Oh, that's it. Like, he's my man, blah, blah, blah. And so, but there was other characteristics that were not lining up with me that were like, you know, we just had different things, right, that were not lining up. And I ignored it. You know how they say people ignore red flags or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so there's core things that you need in a relationship, and some of them were not there, and I ignored them because I put so much emphasis on other qualities that were so great. And so I went all in the marriage and the relationship, only to find at the end of the day, the things that you ignore are going to be in your face, and they're going to be the reason why you break up.
Which goes into intentions. When I counsel married people, I always said to them, you know, the reason you got a divorce is the reason you met. They're like, what? That don't even make sense. Yes, it does.
Yes.
What was your intentions?
Yes.
That's why I always say I speak on intentions.
Yes.
Because if you just wanted to lay with that person, once that's done, what's next? If you just wanted to drain that person off their money, once that's done, what's next? That's what people's not understanding. What's next? I was just looking at my phone. Somebody who said they watched episode 4 and it was like, that joint was banging. Why do you ain't talk about what we talking about right now? And I told them that's what we addressing. But that's what happens in relationships is people don't have a goal. And see, the thing is with me, I always had goals. I always knew what I wanted. Like, I was engaged. And when I was with the girl, we was young too. I was like, 21 when I met her? And even her mom said, you'll be stupid to leave a guy like him. And she learned from me, because she was like, I regret walking away from you. And I was just like, nah, just take what you learned and apply it to your new situation. And she's married right now as we speak. So some people learn, but that's one of the things I keep saying is if you don't have a goal, because even if you do lay with a person, what comes after you laying with them? Because that's just a percentage of a relationship. After you get out of bed, that's when the realness of this situation is going. Like, that's why I say I want to know how your breath, your body, like how you care for your body, how you care for your credit and everything, how you care for your children. Because that tells me a lot. Like, I always tell women, if I see you with your children, I don't like how you treating them. What make you think you're going to treat my children better? Because I'm with you? Nah, you're not getting me to believe that. That's 1, 2. If you ain't treating your kids good, why are you going? I'm gonna believe you're going to treat me better than you treating your kids. And there's something wrong with that if you actually doing that.
Facts. Yeah, and like once you start things, if you don't have a solid foundation with each other while you're dating, and now you're gonna add a house and a mortgage and kids and all of these other things to your relationship, that you have to have a strong relationship. If you're already not strong, that's not gonna help. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna, this is where everybody's true personalities are gonna come out. Everybody, like, their strengths and weaknesses. Some people don't want to strengthen things that you want them to strengthen, you know? And this is where it can all kind of go downhill. And then, at the end of the day, it's like, it was, again, me being an empath, me seeing quality, potential, and that person, happy the way they are. You know what I mean? So it's like, it ends up it ends up being a big issue, and then you're fighting and then it just ends up not working out. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's like sometimes you are just better as friends than actually being in a relationship with somebody.
But shouldn't you be friends before you're lovers?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have something.
Yes.
To you have something. To
and
fall
that's
back
that.
on.
If I could go back, I mean, like, obviously, in all of my relationships, that's where like I said, that's where I failed. I take responsibility. Is that I gotta build a relationship with people first, like as far as getting to know them before I go and like, okay, that's my person, that's my man or whatever. You gotta be friends. It's good to be friends first. It's good to get to know people first. Really get to know people and see if you really are connected. It should happen organically. At least for the core value, the core stuff.
Well, like in doing my books, and I'm gonna start promoting them more. The first one was about who are you as an individual?
Yes.
What makes you who you are? Like, and real quick is basically your interaction with your parents is the determining factor of how you develop. That's the reflection. It's the bond. It should be the first bond. And if you don't have that bond, then guess what? I also talked about substitute parenting, television, video games, food. And I tell some great stories in these books. And there's a guy I met at the gym who told me he was overweight. And I said, before you tell me why you was overweight, and he got money, he was rich. I said, this is the reason. And he said, not only are you 100% right, but when you finish that book, I want to read it. Because I was in the process of writing, and he let me take his story. And when I gave him the book, he was just like, you articulated that very well. That was that one. The second one is the ghost in the machine. Like I keep addressing to people. When you meet people, like even working with CJ, I knew CJ, he told you he sees a therapist. So I had to get the understanding of, okay, what's going on in his life and walk with him to get him to the point of where he is right now, where he trusts me to be a business partner. Because think about it, forget a personal level. When you're dealing with somebody's finances, that's a different ball game. That's that subway me and you gonna be doing later in the future.
Right.
Well, I'm showing people, it's like, stop trying to hide who you are, because a lot of people be sitting up there saying, I don't want to come out with who I am because a person ain't gonna like me. But the thing is, it could actually get worse, because if I find out things about you later on, I'm gonna hate you more later than I would have if you would have told me in the beginning. So that's something you have to understand, that you should, if you don't believe a person should know who you are, then you shouldn't be dating. Because the person that you feel, that there's a story, I actually want to say it, but I can't say it, but it's that deep. It was something, I'm gonna try to say it without saying it. Basically, there was a married couple who was together, and during pregnancy, y'all just use your imagination, the husband found out something about the wife while she giving birth that he did not agree with and divorced her. That's how deep, and it goes with my book. Cause I brought up a story. See, I love when you write and you let people read your books. So many different stories was coming to me. I was just like, wow. So things are out there, people. Just put it that way.
Yes.
And to hear that story. And then the last one was, and they called it Destiny. And the reason why I addressed it the way I addressed it, because relationships play a very important role in your destiny. Because I met him outside of our job. But then our job brought us back together. And then how this episode came about with you, what happened was, what happened? I went to a concert that I didn't even want to go to. I went, that was the concert where I told you what I seen. That's why I went, because somebody that was a part of what I did was at this concert. I was like, let me go show some support, because he going to show support to me. And when I went there, that's when I seen Boom. Shout out to Boom and DJ Smooth. Shouting y'all out. Unity. So when I seen them, Boom was like, yo, you're welcome to come anytime to the radio station. I go to the radio station and then I meet you. And I said, Joe, people need to hear about this. And here we are right now. And they called it Destiny. So again, I want to get this on wax, because we're going to bring it to a close. I have a friend who told me opportunities don't pass you by. They go to someone else.
Yes.
Now, I added on to what he said to me, and I like to do that. The question is, and I did this on Facebook, are you watching someone else with your opportunity, and that's why you're mad at them? Because people could have been, this could have been other than CJ, it could have been anybody else. I knew CJ was better for this situation than the people that I had before, but they could have been a part of this. They messed up. Like I invited a businesswoman here. She didn't come. That's on you. So when she hear this episode, she gonna be like, dang, I could have been a part of that. That's on you. So again, that's why when people present opportunities to me, I take full advantage of them, because you never know what's going to happen down the line. And they called it destiny, because here's the thing. When you take advantage of the first opportunity, it opens the door to the next opportunity, which opens the door to the next opportunity. And next thing you know, you have a house that is really your house. Oh, not your apartment that you call your home.
Oh, man.
Yo, I'm gonna bring all these episodes together.
We know, we see it.
But now let's get into a close and everything. We want to thank you, our guest Valerie.
Absolutely.
Yo, beautiful. Absolutely. If I told y'all who she looked like, y'all really be calling her business. She look like Maya, don't she?
Everybody says
that. Yo, Maya.
Yeah, I see it.
Get the best of me. Best of me.
I see it.
That's so funny. No, a lot of people say that, especially when she first came out back in the day.
That's why your boyfriend was trying to holler at you. He's like, I can't get the real thing. Let me get the comic copy.
That's so funny. I really appreciate you for having me on. This has been a true honor. Honest to God, I feel so excited about it. So I thank you. It was nice meeting you.
Sure. I'll be coming to talk to you later on outside of here, about, everything, finances and everything. So I appreciate it.
Definitely.
Thank you.
We're
going to get you here with Sandy one day.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to get up early. She always complaining. Sandy, you better step your game up. You will be replaced. I got your replacement already. Yeah, I said it. And you know how I do. Closing remarks? No, y'all got closing remarks? Anything y'all want to say before we get out of here?
Closing remarks on my behalf. Wow, really for me, just to get to know your partner. I'm gonna keep on, like I said, I'm gonna keep on this healing process, the whole meditation. But I really have to, like the aftershock, like the real things. Let me just, get everything down packed. Like even if it's like 10 notes, make sure I just come prepared instead of sitting there still being idle and then end up in situations that I did in the past. So just a learning experience. So that's my closing
Love
remarks.
that was good.
Appreciate it.
So mine is what Dante was saying at the end, which is so true, is knowing who you are. It's important before you go into a relationship, knowing who you are, because then you're most likely ready to have you're gonna have standards, and you're not going to go into a relationship trying to alter yourself to fit into somebody else's world, where both of you can be yourselves and fit into each other's world organically. So that's my takeaway.
My first question in the book, when you read it, is who are you?
It's important.
That's the first question. Who are you? And who are you trying to become? Mm-hmm. And what makes you what you are? My closing remarks is, again, what we're doing here, we're going to be addressing so many different things. Like when y'all hear this, if you take this journey with us, because again, somebody just texted me while we was live and said, yo, it was fire. Why you ain't do this? We're going to address everything. We're going to revisit some topics. It's just the fact of we trying to keep it in this is probably our longest episode. Y'all know that. Mm-hmm. And it's because we had a guest here. We appreciated her. We thank you for your time. We thank you for your knowledge, that credit, and everything. So we want to thank you. And what is the name of this episode? No, then what's the name of this? You're the stand-in. Your name?
Valerie Tridenti.
CJ.
And Dante. And this is Don't Get Emotional. The Maya remix. Sandy, we love you. Around when Mob D was saying give up the goods, I was on the east side somewhere in the hood, coming of age like bleak. Mood at the time was bleak, like some mountain, could I ever reach my peak? Senior year, either go to college or the streets. Do I get a degree or hang with my peeps? Selling was an option, I chose working at a supermarket. That's how I bought the bread in. My boys laughing, flashing, fast money slowly, pushing cars while old ladies call me honey. Had another plan, with Walkman in my hand, rapping over beats from Wu-Tang Clan. So after laughter does come the tears, cause after all these years I passed all my peers. Have a career, publish books in the MC. All I have left to say, this what made. Shout out to Justin, Abdur, Hope High. All I have to say, this what made me. To Scott, Fliz, Wolfman Productions. This what made me. To Kyla, Ace, Lenny, Lynn Ace, this what made me to Swan, Sean, Jackson, C&J, Chachi.
Yo, grown man, the wife from Modelo, but I'm not like Othello. She classy and ghetto, but she really type mellow. She knows all the moves, she would never tell though. Connect in Colombia, that look like Canelo. Soon as the beat drop, I presume to rock. Seeing daily growth like my bros who move the pot. And if you know the older, the newer chotch, know I'm still focused like a cam in the hand of Doug Kudabash. I'm dapper, your mom's favorite rapper, disaster. I should've been a doctor or a pastor. So now I'm growing my beard like an old master. Cause Cause I done see more stars than a whole NASA. And I ain't with that fame shit, I'm with the same click. Flame spit, aim, click, duck for your brain spit. I'm from the bottom of the bucket and still there. And everything I got, I created from thin air. Cheer the whole crew, you know that beatbox do, how we do.
This what made me.
Yeah. C&J Records, the whole camp, man. Rest in peace, CR.
This what made me.
And to my whole fam, the wife, the kids, you know what it is.
This what made me.
Should I do it all for you?
This what made me.
Ooh, Dante, we got one, man. A big shout to Merc, Boiler Room. Yeah. Verno. Woo. It's been a minute, kid. Long overdue. This what made me.